rough dog play and how to stop it. Please like and subscribe to support this great content. Thanks.
So I had a request from someone this week to make a video about dogs playing rough, when it's too rough, and how to stop it. So come here. I'm going to show you some techniques I use before we get into the playing. And then I'll show you some examples of rough play and how I've stopped it. Now, I must say that if your dogs don't listen to you when they're not playing, they're not going to listen to you when they're playing and really aroused. So if your dogs aren't listening to you, the first thing to do is to go back through some of my videos and watch how to use body language. But this is the primary thing that I use to stop my dogs, plus a verbal voice or command. Tipton, come here. Come here, buddy. So if you watch dogs, if they're trying to break up two dogs playing too rough, hey, good boy, good boy. What they'll do is come up and walk in between the dogs. Or they might go towards one dog and move that dog out of their way.
Watch Chardonnay, the white dog, get in between the two other dogs here.
So if your dog doesn't do this normally, they're not good boy. They're not going to do it when they're playing. So you never want to start expecting your dog to listen to you when they're playing or when it's a very distracting event. So the other thing I use is, hey, oh, good boy. And each of my dogs really knows recall very well. Tipton, come. Good boy, good boy. So I can combine all of these things because sometimes the dogs are too far away and I can't go over and physically intervene. I have to rely on my voice. But again, the dogs already know what I mean by that by just doing little things in the house, like asking them to back up out of my space or asking them to back up from where I'm cooking dinner or something like that. So I would suggest that you practice these techniques when your dogs are not really doing anything wrong, right? So let's say I wanted Chardonnay just to leave Shiloh alone. Hey, Hey, Char, Right? So there's nothing really fancy about this other than being consistent before you really need them. And if you need some assistance, there's nothing wrong with leaving a leash on the dog, or in this case, like Chardonnay wears a tab around sometimes. Just in case, if I need it, I can grab this tab and move her that way too. So this is all about practicing body language with your dog. So this is how dogs tell each other to calm down or to go away from something, is they get in front of it and walk in between. Now, of course, if your dog has aggression issues towards you, do not do this, right? Get professional help. Or if you have serious issues with dogs fighting and that sort of thing, you're going to need more help than this video. So I'll show some examples of play that's appropriate and play that's too rough, and then how I stop it.
Good fun play means all the dogs are having fun. They have soft, wiggly bodies. They're sharing cooperatively. And no dog is feeling defensive, overwhelmed, or picked on. Too rough play is when one or more dogs is not having fun. Rigid or stiff bodies with side eyes, mounting, humping, or being over the top of another dog. And here you can see the lab was on top of her and she had to defend herself. Any dog feeling defensive, especially if the other dog is ignoring the requests. And I do not allow grabbing of necks, biting backs of legs, holding down, grabbing collars, standing up in boxing, or body slamming. Are these dogs having fun? Not really. These dogs are having fun. Notice the difference in their body language. Here's a video of two dogs playing. You'll notice the black and white dog is often over the top of the other dog, and his legs are held in kind of a tense fashion. He's also showing a lot of teeth. So he's getting a little defensive because the other dog is holding him down. You can see here he asks for her to stop, and she doesn't. Usually people don't recognize this as bullying, but it is, and it needs to be stopped. And she comes back, and then he has to defend himself. Here's an example of my dogs playing with a former foster dog, the tan dog. And he's a good kind guy, right? Everyone likes Remy. But here he's getting too excited, and my dog Shiloh is trying to calm him down by air humping. Now, usually I would have stopped this right then, but this is for video's sake, so I let it go a little further. You can see Remy didn't listen to Shiloh. He didn't calm down. He's still too excited for their taste. You can see here that Remy goes over the top of Shiloh, right? Which is a no-no. I need to stop this one. And if you watch my dog Annie in the background, she's starting to get concerned. 2, Shiloh's trying to air hump him. Hey. So Shiloh's trying to calm him down, right? So my dogs are telling me he's getting too excited. And he's harmless, right? They let him get away with a lot because they've known him since he was a puppy. So this is where I step in so Shiloh doesn't have to do it. Hey. So here, Shiloh doesn't appreciate that. And here she flashes her eyes at Remy and then moves him out of her space. It's important with Shiloh that I help her out to stop dogs when they're too much for her, because she doesn't have the same energy. Dogs don't listen to her like they listen to some of my other dogs. And see here, he's starting to calm down. And then Shiloh's like, oh, I think I'm going to help and go stand over him, which is also not okay. So I move Shiloh out of the way. This is all about listening to your dogs when they're trying to ask for help. Step in before it gets too escalated. This is an example of good play. Everyone's happy, having fun. But sometimes even good play can escalate a little bit. And right here, when this dog gets on Chardonnay's back, I step in and tell her no. And then the play continues. This is another dog. He is an adolescent playing with Chardonnay. And I trust Chardonnay to be fair to him. And you can see her tail here, so she's kind of in bossy mode. But this is still good play, right? Everyone's feeling okay about it. No one's getting upset. Up on their hind legs for a second, but quickly stop that, so I didn't even address it. So let's say these dogs were playing and you wanted to keep Chardonnay away from the other dogs. Come on, guys. Up. Alright, so if your black dog is getting too excited, any dog is getting too excited or invading another dog's space, you just so if they're playing, she's getting too rough. And if they're playing, let's say, and I just guide her this way, press her up, have her sit till she calms down, and then she can join again. That wasn't nice. So that I didn't catch. Here I am years later trying to get my dogs to play nicely on video. The snow brings out the liveliness in them, but it also brings out the jerk in Tipton, the pointy-eared dog. During this segment of the video, you'll see Tipton escalate quite a bit and how I need to address it to calm him down.
I have to watch Chardonnay because she can get really bossy and kind of pushy. And Tipton, too, can get too excited for Shiloh. And so then I calm him down. Go, Shiloh, go! Go, Shiloh! Ah! Hey! So right there is getting too much.
Let's watch this in slow motion. So Shiloh starts running, Tipton comes in, but is coming in too hot. And so Chardonnay gets in between them, corrects Tipton, then Shiloh body slams him and Chardonnay chases him off.
But this is good play. This is chase. Not a lot of biting or wrestling. I don't allow biting and wrestling with pit bulls. And sometimes I'll put Chardonnay in because she gets a little much if she starts chasing Shiloh. See, she just told Shiloh to back off a little. Char, no. So when I first got Chardonnay, I would make her sit out so she could only play when she was calm. Really? I think that was actually an accident. But again, I'm out here as a referee, so they don't have to do it themselves. So Shiloh seemed okay with that. A lot of times, though, that behavior by Tipton is too much for her, and her hackles will start going up. So if her hackles start going up, then I step in and stop Tipton, because I don't want Shiloh to have to do it. She's getting old. She needs an advocate. She has some health issues. All right, so she knows that I'll step in and help her out. What are you doing, Chardonnay? What are you doing, Chardonnay? Go get Tipton. Go, guys. What are you doing? No. Where's your toy? Where's your toy? Stop it. Hey, come here. Stop. Enough. Where's your toy? Where's your toy? Where is it?
Right here, Tipton's gonna get way out of line and barrel into Shiloh, which I don't allow. And I reprimand him for it. But you see here, he's faster than me, of course, he's a dog. And I have to be consistent and keep trying to stop him until I can actually grab him to calm him down, and then I step into his space. This is important for me to take charge of this so my dogs don't have to take charge in a way that I don't want. But Tipton decides to keep being too rough with Shiloh, and so then I have to reprimand him again and tell him to calm down. It's important to be consistent and keep your boundaries firm when you're dealing with dogs and their excitement level. You may notice Tipton got a lot louder in his vocalization, indicating he was getting too aroused, and so I also had to raise my intensity some to meet his level. Watching here is actually Shiloh's reaction to see how she feels about this. And you see she tries to avoid playing. And here Chardonnay is like, do you need my help? And I tell her no. But Shiloh tries to avoid playing by eating snow. So Tipton needs to listen to her. And then Chardonnay gets him and they run around a little bit. Again, the snow like kind of brings out the naughtiness in Tipton. He usually isn't like this, but I thought it was a good opportunity. So I want to mention, I do not leave my dogs outside unattended. I'm always out there with them because I want to be in charge of these occurrences so they don't have to be in charge of it. So here again, Tipton's being kind of a jerk. And this time, instead of just using my body to block him, I actually go in and physically touch him, which is a higher level of reprimand. And Chardonnay goes over to tell Shiloh it's okay. She's had enough. So if I felt I needed to, I would put a long line on Tipton. It would allow me another layer of safety to be able to guide him to some better choices. There's nothing wrong with using extra precautions while you're trying to teach your dogs how to play nicely with each other. I put Shiloh inside because she had had enough. It's important to realize when it's time to end the game too. So I hope this video has given you all some ideas about how to stop your dogs when they're playing too rough and what too rough looks like and what fun looks like. The next couple videos I make are also going to be on different elements of play and getting into more detail about what play can mean.